Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for tuning in. I have a guest with me here today. Come on, say hi. I don't know how that's working on the camera, but yeah, say hi. All right. So I have a guest today. Yeah, I know. Okay. All right, guys. So, it is the Sabbath, and pardon if there's any background noise. I need the AC on. Um, so I want to go over and show you guys. We're gonna go over Enoch Chapter 10. You want to hang out? Okay. So I made a PDF that will be in the description box below, and that people could look through, study if they want. We have references to the book of Revelation about the bottomless pit and the Millennial Reign, and we also have references to the Sethani translations that we did in the Latin Codex. Okay, because what we're going to see in this chapter, lay down. Okay, what we're going to see in this chapter is actually what we covered in these translations. We're gonna see them confirmed. Okay, so I want to show everyone that. Just give me 1 second. The AC is really distracting, but if I turn it off, my heart is gonna start cooking. So, yeah. So what I'm gonna show here is actually a confirmation of the legitimacy and the validity of these texts. Okay, it's really amazing, especially this one, that the gospel of Christ was preached from the beginning of the world, as Acts 3:20-21 says. Okay, and yes, Enoch preached the gospel of Christ. So what I want to show in here, like, a lot of people do. We have to say this, like, a lot of people do bicker and complain that we don't preach the gospel on this channel, but Jesus is the Word, and the Word of God is preaching the gospel. And without trying to prove my point, I just want to ask you guys, while we read Enoch chapter 10, do you perceive this preaching the gospel? Do you see this as the gospel of Jesus? Okay, that's what we're going to cover today. Because what's hidden, well, not even hidden, what's in this chapter of Enoch chapter 10 is amazing. So there's a lot of things to learn. So it's really awesome, guys. So I just want to recommend you guys spend time with this PDF. Okay, it's all in there, and these are really the beginning of my notes. Okay, so Enoch chapter 10 goes into the prophecy of Noah being called out and instructed by the angel Uriel about the flood coming and all that kind of stuff, about the days of Noah. Okay, so without reading the whole chapter, let's just get into this. Then El Elyon, the great and holy, spoke and sent Uriel to Noah, the son of Lamech is Noah, saying to him, in my name, conceal yourself. Then explain to him the consummation which is about to take place, for all the earth shall perish, the waters of a deluge shall cover the whole earth, and all things which are in it shall be destroyed. And now teach him how he may escape, and how his seed shall remain in the earth. Okay? So Noah was instructed by the angel of the coming, of his times. Okay? So keep this in mind, guys. As in the days of Noah, okay, so was the coming of the Son of Man. So we have to keep that in mind. So that's why it's important to learn about the days of Noah, right? Yeah. All right, now we get into the binding of Satan, the punishment of the fallen angels. Okay, you could cross-reference the notes here in 2 Peter, Jude, even 2 Baruch covers this. Okay, we could probably go as far as connecting 2nd Esdras chapter 7, which talks about what happens when we die. But I haven't thoroughly studied that out, so I haven't added that in my notes yet. Okay? But pretty much we get what is talked about is the angels are bound into the bottomless pit until the white throne judgment, or I think it would be the white throne judgment, which is 70 generations, whatever that means. So we could do the math there, which would be a really interesting study. But the word 70 means judgment, righteousness, that kind of stuff. All right, this is life, guys. So we read about the fallen angels' judgment in the bottomless pit, and that's awaiting the greater judgment to be cast into the lake of fire. Alright, if you can't tell, I received these attacks. Every thought has to get chopped up, so I can't make a coherent study. Okay, that is the idea, that is the algorithm. So, okay, there we go. Thought finished, continue. So, I just want to say, guys, read this on your own. Some of this I've covered already. You could cross-reference. I've already did a video on this, the Wisdom of Solomon. So this shows that King Solomon was versed in the book of Enoch. So that's an amazing study. I've already covered this. So you can see the notes on being bound in the bottomless pit, and then eventually, we have the lowest depths of the fire. That's the lake of fire. Okay? So we can read about that in the book of Revelation. It's all included in the PDF. Okay? So that's amazing. So, but what I really want to show people is that from verse 19, I have it in my notes, from verse 19 to 27, we see a shadow of the millennial reign. So Enoch chapter 10 is not just about the days of Noah. It's also about the last days, the great judgment, all the way until the millennial reign. How everything is a shadow of something else. There's nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes 1:9 and 3:15. So pay attention to that and your minds will be blown. Okay? Really amazing. It's all here in the notes. Okay? So we clearly see, so what we can discern is after the flood, when humanity first started beginning, God likely permitted a shadow of the millennial reign for Noah and his seed. Okay? So that's what we're reading about. So what's really interesting, if I can find it, give me a minute here. Here we go. Give thanks and live until they have begotten 1,000 children. Okay, you see what Enoch's... Now, our Bibles, which is included at the bottom of the PDF in Revelation, says the millennial reign is 1,000 years. In the Greek, that word 1,000 means infinity. Now, it's very interesting that the book of Enoch says, until they have begotten 1,000 children. Okay? So we're called to repopulate the earth in the millennial reign, and we're called to see our grandchildren's children. Okay? We're going to live 1,000 years, or like how Adam was supposed to live 1,000 years but lived 930. So it's very interesting how the book of Enoch doesn't say 1,000 years but says 1,000 children. So that could be a very key verse into our understanding in the millennial reign. It's a mystery. I don't know. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about it much. So, all right. So I just wanted to show that with you guys. Okay, to study on your own. Okay. So we see it's really amazing. Can you discern the days of Noah? And so let's continue. Here we are in the Sethani text. Okay. We clearly see the validity of these texts that we translated, and I wholeheartedly believe that these texts are genuine writings from the times of the days of Noah. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think that's why I was led to translate these. So when we read these, All right, and I just want to show you something else. I want to show you. I hope I'm not losing you guys. I know I'm very hard to follow. Check out this note. Proverbs 30:11 through 14. Okay? So Proverbs 30:11 through 14. Okay? There is a generation that curses their father and does not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are like swords, and their jaw teeth are knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. What is Proverbs 30:11-14 talking about? It's talking about the days of Noah. It's talking about the days of consummation, how bad things get before the coming of the Son of Man be. So we could literally clearly read this and see how this is talking about the generation that happened 2,000 years ago when Jesus of Nazareth walked the earth. This is clearly talking about the generation that happened in the days of Noah. And likewise, this is also clearly talking about what's going to happen in our generation when the Great Tribulation finally comes. It's all the same. So as the days of Noah, so are the coming of the days of the Son of Man. And we clearly see this verified in this Sathanes text that we translated here. So for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, please let them hear. Okay, so I also provided in this PDF what we read about in the Millennial Reign and the Lake of Fire from the book of Revelation. Okay, really starting in chapter 20, which is the point. Okay, so the closing verses of 19 is not relevant to the study. Chapter 20 of the book of Revelation I included in here. Okay? So, alright guys, I just really want to leave you guys on your own to study this. Do you perceive it? And we could clearly see, as written in these texts, excuse me, no, I screwed this up. I had to remake this PDF. I screwed this up. So, as you will clearly see in the PDF, the gospel of Jesus Christ was preached even in the days of Noah, from the beginning of the world. Okay? So, that's what we're showing here. Okay? I will fix this PDF, guys. Link this in the description box below. Something to study. Check it out. It's not a hard read. Okay, y'all bless you. Thank you for tuning in.